Courtney Beach. I am a team member here at Michael's, and I'm going to be walking you step by step through one of my favorite projects that we're doing for Camp Creatology this year, which is the Sunny Days frame. So we're going to get started and just have some fun creating today. So we're going to go ahead and switch over so you guys can see everything. Let's talk first about supplies. So to create our Sunny Day frame, the most important thing that we need, of course, is the frame itself. So this is a frame that you can get at Michael's. They're pretty inexpensive. They're less than $2 a piece. If you have your frame today, you can go ahead and pull it out. So we're going to get started with this one. It doesn't have to be this shape exactly, but this is the one that I have today, and this is going to be following along with our example as well. So we have our frame. We're going to need a couple of paint brushes. We're only going to be doing a little bit of painting, but some paint brushes. We have our markers to be able to color in our sunnies in our Sunny Day frame. And then, of course, we have our acrylic paint. I'm going to be using the Creatology acrylic paint. You can use just about any acrylic paint. Any paint that you have is probably going to work fine. Frames work really well with watercolor as well. It's not going to be as bold of a color, but you could definitely do that. The best thing about the Creatology paint is that it is waterproof, so it's going to be easy to wash off your hands and things like that. We also have a little bit of yarn. This is one of our yarns at Michael's. This is kind of a different rainbow, and it has a really great look. We're using it for several of our projects that we're doing with Camp Creatology this year. So if you have a skein of this yarn, it's absolutely perfect. If you don't have a skein of this yarn, that's okay too. Any color works. We could also, if you don't have yarn, you could replace it with any kind of other thing. You could do pom-poms, or you could do stems like Chanel stems, pipe cleaners. You could use string. You could use just about anything you have, the floss that you would use for embroidery, anything that you have to add a little bit of pop of color to our frame. So these are the main things. I also have some scratch paper that I'm going to be working on. And then the most important part to be able to finish our frame is we need something to put inside of it. So for our Sunny Days frame, we have a printed out template. I believe that you'll be able to have access to the template. I think Nicole has that. We also have it on our website, so you'll have access to print out the template if you haven't already. If this is not your favorite template and you don't want to do the sunglasses, that's absolutely fine too. You could use just a picture. You could color something on your own. You could create just about anything that you want to go inside your frame. But today for our class, I'm going to be following the example exactly, which means I'm going to be coloring our sunglasses. So we are going to do that here in a second. And if you guys are ready, we are going to get started.
Courtney, really quick, we do have one question.
Of course.
Someone asked, could we use crayons for the picture frame?
You know what? That is a great question, and I should have mentioned that first. We already have our markers to color in our picture. You can use crayons to color that in, markers. You can also use crayons or markers on your frame as well. So if you wanted to completely just color in your frame or color in your picture with whatever art supplies that you have, colored pencils, anything like that, that'll be absolutely great.
Perfect.
All right, so we have our frame. I still have it wrapped, and the reason I still have it wrapped is I want to show you guys everything that you're going to need outside of this. So we can go ahead and unwrap the frame. So it's just an easy plastic wrapping. And as you're opening, you're going to see this little wooden piece in the back, this little dowel that looks just like this. This is important. Do not lose it. That's how our frame is going to stand up. So I want you to take your little dowel and just set it aside and don't lose it. If something happens and you do lose your dowel, that's okay. There's different ways that we can hang this or that we can set this up, but I want to make sure that you know that that dowel is there. Now, this part can be a little tricky and sometimes it's a little harder. So if you have an adult there that's with you that can help you, that'd be great. So we're going to remove the backing to the frame, which is just this little piece of cardboard. But to do that, we have to move these metal pieces up. So that's the part that can be a little hard if you've never done it before, but they just bend right up. And then we're going to take out our little piece of cardboard. We don't want to throw this away. We're going to keep this because this is how we're going to know the size of the frame for later. So after you have your cardboard out, you can set that aside with the little dowel. To make sure that we can paint easily, we do want to go ahead and put the little metal pieces back down at this point, just so it has a nice flat back. And there we have our frame. So now we are going to start thinking about what color we are going to do our frame. So if you want to pull out your marker or crayon or whatever color that you want to do, I'm going to follow the example. So I'm going to follow it and find this gorgeous blue teal color. So in the big paint pack that we have at Michael's from Creatology has lots of different colors. And this one right here is the one that we are going to do. It is called teal. So you can pull out your teal. Now for this one, I'm not going to be using a paint palette because it's just the one color of paint. You might need a paint palette at home or a paper plate or even a paper towel to put some paint on, depending on what kind of paint you're using. I'm not going to be using one. I'm going to be going straight out of the bucket today. But if you have a plate or anything like that, a plastic plate or bowl is fine too. This is going to be able to be washed out really, really quickly. But paper is always a great choice. So we have our paint. I want to know what color of paint you guys are using. I'm really interested to know. I'm going to use the teal, but maybe what color that you think your sunny frame is going to be today. I always like purple or pink, orange. I am super excited.
Aubrey asked if you could add a design to your frame.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you want to do multiple colors on your frame, if you wanted to do rainbow or red, white, and blue.
We actually have a friend who is doing red, white, and blue as well, so perfect.
Perfect.
Just in time for July.
You still see everything, Nicole? Am I frozen?
Nope, everything's. Oh, your hand is frozen.
I believe
So,
I am
hold on just
frozen.
a second. I
Technical
wasn't sure if we were
difficulties.
waiting for friends, so. Sometimes our cameras like to be tricky. That's what keeps it interesting, right?
Of course. Okay. So if my overhead camera is not going to work, we're just going to move right over here. I got your guys back. Don't worry about a thing. So we're going to go ahead and paint our frame while my overhead camera gets back to normal. And while we're doing that, you guys can start painting red, white, and blue, multicolor, rainbow. You guys can use any of the colors that you want. If you wanted to do stripes, polka dots, stars, rainbows, I think I already said rainbows, moons, suns, absolutely great. We are just going to do it teal. So while you guys start painting, I'm going to see if we can get the overhead camera back working. So you guys just keep on painting. Let me know what colors that you are choosing. I'm gonna get logged all the way back in.
We have another friend who said that they're also doing teal, but their sister is doing red.
That's perfect. We love the teal. Okay, Miss Nicole, let's see if I can get back in here. Okay, I think I'm back in with my overhead. I think we just need to get my camera on.
All right, give it a try now. You should be able to access that. Perfect. Hooray.
Are perfect. So let's just get a step back up. How's the painting going, guys? Thanks for being patient with us today.
Aubrey
Can't
says
always
she's
count
mixed
on
two colors.
technology.
We have some more
Backwards.
colors. We have
Ooh,
orange,
yeah, tell
black,
me about
red,
it.
green, and yellow.
Perfect.
Whole bunch of colors. Right. Let's see if it'll
While
let
you
me
guys
switch
were
the spotlight.
painting,
Perfect. You are a little bit sideways though. Just
I
a
can
heads
take
up.
care of that. Baby.
There it goes. Okay, perfect.
Right.
Perfect. We are upside down though. So
Guys,
sorry.
sticking with me. No, thanks.
Those pesky cameras.
Never fails.
It's true.
But we're back.
Huzzah!
Perfect. Okay. How's the painting going? Are you all finished? Am I catching up now?
So far the answers are good. So looks like we're doing great.
Perfect. So I've got this gorgeous teal color. If I were doing this at home and I did not have any limitations on what color I was going to do, I think I would be doing orange, purple, and teal stripes probably. I think those would be the colors of choice.
We do have a friend who's asking if the edges should be painted as well.
That is a great question. We are going to paint the edges. So once you have the top all the way painted, we're going to move to the sides first. We're going to let the top dry. So just hold it very, very carefully. I like to hold it where there's the little bit of a lip right here on the back. So hold it right there on the lip and paint each side. This is the point where we might get a little bit of paint on our fingers, but we are not doing art if we are not getting a little bit of paint on our fingers. That's what I always say. If you wanted to do the edges a different color, you absolutely could. If you wanted to come in and add something different to the edges as well, that's always fun. If you wanted to add pipe cleaners or something like that and glue them around the edges later, you could do that. I've seen some people use washi tape. If you guys have ever played or used washi tape, which is like kind of a little bit of a fun craft tape, that always looks really fun on the edges. It's absolutely fine if you have a different frame. That is not a problem at all.
Just a heads up, you are slightly off of frame painting that, so
No worries.
no big deal.
Trying to get these edges done. Okay, now once we have all 4 sides painted, we are then going to move to the inside corners. So you can see when you go in here that the insides just need a little bit of paint as well. Same thing, if you wanted to do those a different color, you absolutely could.
We have a friend who's asked if we should do the back of the frame as well, or just the front and the edges.
So the back of the frame is completely up to you. If you want the full thing painted, you could absolutely paint it. I'm not going to, and it's probably not going to show in the final product. But if you want to paint it, especially if you're going to display it in your room, it might be really great to have the back painted as well, just so you can have a little bit of an extra pop of color. Can't really do it wrong. That's really the best thing when it comes to painting and adding color to something like a frame. There's really no wrong way to do it, because at the end, this is yours. So whether you keep it, put it in your room, give it to a friend or someone in your family, it doesn't really matter, because you are the one who made it, you're the one who created it, and that's the most important part. But today I am not going to paint the back. I am just going to do the front, the sides, and the little ridges here in the middle. Hey, what do we think? We think we're about finished up with the painting part. I know some of you guys are doing lots and lots of colors, so I want to make sure that you have lots of time to get all the way there. Make it just how you want it. I love this teal color. I had a bedroom growing up that was this exact color. All right, so mine is done. No worries. If you need the printout, I think we can put it back in the chat as well. I think Nicole can help you out with that. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm not going to wash my brush out right now, only because I am going to, I don't have a sink right here. So I'm just going to set my paintbrush aside and be able to wash that out later. And you can do the same. As you see, we have a little bit of paint on our fingers. So if you want to go and wash your hands right now, or if you have a wet paper towel or a diaper wipe, if you don't like having paint on your fingers, you can do that. It's dried really quickly. So even on mine, it's already dry and I'm not worried about it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my frame that it's a little bit wet, and I am just going to set it over on the side. And then I have another piece of paper here ready for me to do the next part. So we're just going to completely set it aside. So see you in a few minutes, frame. We're going to give it plenty of time to dry. That way we don't get our paint colors messed up that we worked so hard on. So speaking of the template, here we have it now. This is where we're going to start coloring this. So I am once again going to do similar colors to what our sample is. So in our sample, we had the red outside of the star, and then the sky was blue. It has a little moon, and that was a nice yellow. The template is in the chat, and it's also going to be on michaels.com. If you don't have the template here today, not a big deal. You can use just regular paper, or you can just save and do just a picture of you and friends or your family, and that'll be fine too at the end. But for right now, we are going to be using this. You can absolutely use paint on your paper. It's yours. You'll want to make sure if you do use paint on the actual paper that you want it to have extra time to dry. So right after we do this, I'm going to work on cutting it out. But if you do use paint, you're going to want it to dry a little bit longer before you cut out the actual paper. So that way you don't smear your design. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to start picking out my colors. So here is the marker set that I have today. These are washable. This is our 20-piece set. Doesn't really matter what kind of markers, crayons, pencils, anything that you have. This is just the ones that I'm using from Creatology. So I'm going to need the red. So go ahead and pull the red out. And then there is the nice dark blue for the sky. A little bit of a yellow for the bottom part of the rainbow as well as the moon. And then I think this color, this kind of light purple color is going to be the one I want for that. And then finally there was a pink, so I'm going to grab pink. So these are the 5 colors that I'm using. You guys can use whatever colors you want, okay, friends? Let's get started with this part. If you wanted to, if you don't have this printed out and you wanted to draw it, this is a pretty easy thing that you could draw. If you just wanted to do some stars and maybe like draw a little bit of a rainbow inside, if you did want to do something similar, you could absolutely do that. But with the template, I'm going to start from the outside and I'm just going to start coloring it red. So if you want to color with me, this is the time. We were talking the other day when we were looking at this, and this is called the Sunny Days frame. But there's no sunshine. There's a moon in the picture. So we decided that it's probably called a sunny day because in some places they call sunglasses sunnies. That's what we do at my house. We call them sunnies. So that's what I think this is about. You have to have your sunglasses to block out the sun. And that's why it's our sunny day frame.
So someone asked about putting someone else's picture in the frame. Do you think that would be good as well?
I think that is perfect. Especially if you want to have someone that you want to display, or if you wanted to put a picture in of somebody and then put it, give it to them as a gift. That's always a great thing. You could do as many of these as you want and give them as a gift. But definitely, you can put whatever you want in the frame. If you didn't want to even do paper, there's some different things. This piece that we're going to be using, this is cardboard. So if you happen to not even have paper around, you could always draw or paint on the cardboard and use that to put inside the frame today. It's perfect to be able to draw on as well. So you could do something on that. You could also, if you wanted to get some glue and throw on some pom-poms or some glitter or something and like add it on this, you could do that too. I love glitter, and I think if I had some with me today, I might throw a little bit of glitter onto my picture as well. A little bit of sparkle where the stars are. Everybody needs a little sparkle in their life. Just make sure you have a grown-up there to help you.
It's very messy.
They yeah, definitely want to be there for the cleanup part. Sorry, grown-ups. I know how much you guys love it. So I'm just coloring the edges. Something I want to always remind you when we are doing something like coloring is perfection is not necessary. That is the best part about art, is that nothing ever needs to be perfect, nothing ever needs to be exact, and nothing ever needs to be the way you expect it. It can always change, it can always be different, and it can always get a little bit messy. And I will remind you that over and over and over again, that it is okay if you get a little bit messy. So that's about it for the outline with the red. Now I'm gonna start, I'm probably gonna do my yellow moon next. And the stars are teeny tiny, so if you wanted to dot the little teeny tiny stars, you could. If you want to be super duper patient. You can see the teeny tiny little stars. You can just barely see the yellow. Now we're gonna work on the blue. This color of blue that I have is very, very pretty. I'm gonna try to be very careful around my few stars that have that little bit of speck of yellow in the middle. I wonder if you guys that did lots of different colors on your frame are going to be using the same colors on your picture, or if you're going to be using completely different colors. That's a really fun thought. Maybe if you did something completely different. Like my frame is teal, but I don't have any teal in my picture. We just have colors that go nicely together. So there's one side. Going over all those little stars took forever, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just color over them for this side. Maybe later on this evening when I'm at home, maybe I'll add that little bit of glitter to it. We have our blue sky. And then the top one, like in my picture, was pink. But like I said, whatever color you guys want. This is your picture, your time to be creative, to make your own little masterpiece. And then we're going to open up the yellow again, and we're going to do yellow for the middle one. Doing a lighter color in the middle of two kind of similar colors gives a really nice contrast. So if I'm going to have pink and then the purple, the yellow is a really nice contrast right there in the middle. Gives everything dimension. If you wanted to do the actual colors of like a real rainbow, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, which is kind of a mixture between blue and purple, and then violet or purple. You could always do that. You could always maybe do 3 on one side, 3 on the other, and do like the full rainbow colors. If you wanted to say this isn't a rainbow at all and maybe make it like a road, maybe this part could be grass, this part could be a road, and this part could be grass, and you could even like draw someone walking on the little road. You could do that. Feel free to get as creative as you want. Finishing up with this light purple color. Kind of, when it's on the paper, kind of almost is a dark magenta. Nice mixture between the pink and the purple. So we're just going to finish up these last few pieces. And there's mine. So I'm going to give you guys just a little bit of time to finish up that or finish creating whatever you are creating if you don't have the template. I know some of you were still looking for the template before this and you might still have time to get it all printed out. So I'm just going to give you just a second to get to where you need to get. And then we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part. This is a good stop to check and see how your frame is doing. Is your frame getting dry? Mine it's stuck to the paper. So it got just a little stuck right there on the edge. That is okay, because it will just scrape right off. Earlier, you guys were asking about painting on the back. I made a big mess on mine. Maybe I should have painted the back so it didn't look like such a mess. But it is just about drying. There's a little bit of wetness over here on the side. That was the very last part that we did. So I'm going to give it just a few more seconds while we clean up. I'm interested to know when we start to use yarn. Do you guys have the rainbow yarn or is there a different color that you think you're going to use today? Is there something different completely that you're going to use? And then are you going to keep your frame at the end of this? Or are you going to give it away to a friend or someone in your family? Those are some good questions that I am very interested in knowing. All right, friends. So we're going to go back to this little piece of cardboard that we talked about earlier. So this is the cardboard that comes in your frame. We took it out. This one was an Art Minds frame. There's a bunch of different ones that you can have, but I did keep this and I will show you the reason now. Oh, that's so great to give it away to your grandma. She's going to absolutely love it. Grandmas love presents, especially when they're made by their grandkids. So what I'm doing right now is I'm taking the piece of cardboard and I'm going to center it right on top of our sunglasses here. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to add it right there. And then I am going to grab another marker and then we are going to trace around this piece of cardboard to make sure that we have the exact right size of paper that we need. So now you see, we're going to put it right on top. This is like a light peach color. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to trace right around the edges. You slip just like I did. No big deal. So, done that. Now you can see the lines exactly that we need to be able to go inside of our frame. So I have our scissors. If you don't have kids safe scissors and you only have adult scissors, this is the time that you probably want to ask a grown-up for help. If you have kid scissors and your grown-up is comfortable with you using them, we're just going to go ahead and cut this out. So because the marker went around the outside of the cardboard, we want to make sure our scissors cut right on the inside of the marker. So that way there's none overlapping. Just a little bit of a curve. If you have too much extra paper on the outside, it does get all crumpled in there. Remember that if you did use paint on your picture and not markers or crayons or colored pencils, that you might want to wait a little bit of time so you don't smear, because you see that I'm touching the picture an awful lot and you don't want it to smear. Might just need a little bit of drying time. So there we go. I have mine cut out. I'm going to keep my scissors nearby because it's possible that it still won't fit perfectly because when do things ever go perfectly? So I'm going to keep my scissors nearby, but I am going to take the paper and I'm either going to throw it away. It is paper, you can recycle it, or you can use it for another project. If you wanted to save it, use it for another project, or practice coloring something else on it. You can absolutely do it. So now that we have our frame painted and we have our picture colored and cut out, I am going to go ahead and bring the frame back up here. And we can get another good look at that. So this is the time that we're going to add on our yarn. So I am, to make it a little easier on myself, I'm going to use a little bit of tape. So I do have some Scotch tape here. You can use any kind of tape you want. You don't need tape. You can use glue, or you could tie it in a knot, or you could just tuck it. But I am going to use this little bit of tape to make it just a little bit easier. So if you have tape and it's easy to find, this is the time. And then I'm going to get my yarn. I have just a little ball of it. If you have the full skein, that's fine too. But I just have a little ball cut off just to make it a little bit easier. And I like to start right here where the little metal pieces. That way I know on both sides that I'm kind of doing the same. So there are very similar spots on both sides. So I am going to start right there. Wipe the paint off my fingers. And I'm going to get just a teeny bit of tape. And I'm just going to stick that on there. Like I said, it doesn't need it. You do not have to do that. You could always just use your finger and wrap it the first time, but if you have tape, it does help a little bit. So that's what I'm doing. And then we're just going to take our little ball of yarn and we're just going to wrap it. So as easy as it sounds, like we're just going to take it and wrap it through. So because this yarn has all the different colors, every time that you turn it, you might get a new color on. So far I have orange, and red, and purple. This one looks like it's going to be another purple with just a little bit of blue on the end. There's another little bit of blue. Now we're going to see the green. So far, I've twisted it 6 times, and I'm going to go up to 10 times. So there's number 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I'm going 10 times. You can go as many or as few as you want. If you wanted to do this entire side in yarn, you could. And like I said, it doesn't have to be yarn. It could be pipe cleaners, or you could do it with pom-poms or stickers or whatever you want along the side if you wanted to add these decorations. But with the yarn, I'm just going to go around the 10 times. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over. I'm going to make sure that it goes, make sure you guys can see, make sure it goes over a little bit, and then I'm going to go ahead and snip it again. And this is the point where you could tuck this last piece into some of the other ones, and I'm just going to use another little piece of tape.
Courtney, we had a really good question in the Q&A. Someone said, what if we threw away the cardboard that came with the frame?
Of course, that is a great question. So if you throw away the cardboard, there's lots of different things you can do. So if you wanted to take your picture, I have a second one here I can show you. You can always take your picture and use the actual frame. So you could come in here with your frame and set it down and trace that way. You might want to use a pencil if you do that, because you probably want to go a little bit outside to make sure it fits. But that would be the easiest way, is to kind of go in. And if you do it this way, you'll want to probably take your marker or your pencil and you'll want to just go just outside. So you see how you can't really see where my marker is? but it's there. It's that way I'm going just underneath the lip of the frame to make sure that I have enough space to be able to fit. So then you could go all the way around, just tracing underneath. And then that's going to give you the same block that you need. If that doesn't work for you, you could also just kind of guess, maybe just cut some of it off and then just keep getting smaller and smaller as you need it. But that's probably the best way to do it. If you wanted to turn it over like this as well and be able to see kind of the exact width, you can do that as well. So there are definitely options if you did throw away your cardboard. So we're going to go back over here to our yarn. We see the very first side. So that side's done. I love how it changes colors. So we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So grab your yarn again and find the end. Mine got a little twisty. So we're going to make sure we have our yarn. It does get knotted sometimes. I spent a lot of time unraveling before we got started and it still got twisted up. So do not get aggravated or frustrated if it does get a little twisted up. It's just the nature of yarn. And luckily, it unravels just as easy. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. We're going to start with just a little bit of tape or glue or just your finger, and we're just going to put it right about the same spot and do just a bit of tape. Everybody doing all right? Everybody staying with us? We're going to start wrapping. So my first color on this side is going to be that really pretty light blue. And there's how that's looking. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to wrap just over and around 8 times, or as many times as you like. Trying to keep it as close as possible. Something you're going to notice is that it is going over those little metal tabs a little bit as you're wrapping, and that's not a big deal. We'll be able to pull those tabs out, and if you can't, it's okay because we have 2 other sides. It is absolutely okay if it is not the same. Nothing has to match perfectly. Nothing needs to be exactly like we're doing it. Get creative. It's a good question though. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. I said 8 and I was wrong. That's what I thought. 9 and 10. So it just turned out that this side has lots of green on it and this side has no green at all. I love that. So we're going to do the same thing as the other side. We're just going to take it and do a little snip. And grab our last little piece of tape here. And we're just going to make sure it's nice and taped in. And there's our frame. It would look really great with stickers or pom-poms, pipe cleaners, extra string, ribbon. All of those things would make extra amazing additions to your frame. All kinds of things. All right, friends, now we're going to go back here. This is the part where it gets a little bit tricky trying to put our frame back in. You can see here on our example, we actually put it in and then we used the cardboard to tape it down. You can do it that way. You don't have to. We want to make sure though that this little circle right here, if you're using a frame like this is going to be the bottom of your frame because that's where the little wooden dowel is going to go back to help stand up later. So we want to make sure that's the bottom. So I'm going to take my picture and I'm just going to slide it right in So you see how we have the yarn there that's kind of blocking it. It's not a big deal. Just gonna slide my tabs up. So you may have to move your yarn over just a little bit to slide your tab up. I think tape is a really good option for something like this, but if you're going to be adding extra, glue is a great option. Glue is also a great option for adding in your picture if you wanted to do some glue around the edge to actually get your picture in, and glue will work great with your yarn as well. But tape is a little bit of an easier option if you have it.
What about people who have multi-directional frames? I know some of our friends grab different frames.
Yeah, same thing. So if you have a different frame that maybe doesn't fit this exact picture, you may have to change it up. Or if it's something that maybe just goes up, I maybe would just save that frame, maybe not use this picture, maybe save your picture and use it for something else. And today use something that you drew yourself. Maybe you took your cardboard and use that, or if you just wanted to cut one of the stars out and maybe put it on your cardboard or put it on something and face it the right way to be able to go if you did it, if it is going a different direction.
One of our friends has 3 holes in their frame, so that's why I was asking.
Interesting. Okay, so we have our tabs back up. We've slid our picture in there. Then I'm going to take my cardboard. If you threw your cardboard away, no big deal. You can do that. We're just going to slide it in. You finished? That's awesome. How does it look? Do you love it? Is your grandma going to love it? Can't wait. Okay. So now we have our picture in. You can see. So it looks really, really great. And then earlier I said you guys to save that little dowel. So here's that little dowel that we talked about. It just goes right into one of your holes, whichever hole that you choose. And what that's going to do is it's going to be able to let you stand your frame up. So that way it can sit on a shelf or a vanity or wherever you want it to sit. So that's what that is for. And that, friends, is our Sunny Days frame. I want to thank you guys so much for being here with me today. And we hope we see you at another Camp Creatology. I want to remind you that on Friday, we have our faux tie-dye bandana. That's going to be the next one that we're going to be doing. That's going to be with Val. And then you can join us again on Monday. Monday is going to be back with me. Hopefully no technical difficulties on Monday. But Monday, we're going to be making my other favorite project that we're doing this summer, which is the painted trinket dish. We're actually making 2 different trinkets using the air dry clay. So go grab you some air dry clay and come and make that with me on Monday. And then we have our door hanger that you can do next Wednesday. And then we're going to be painting with salt on next Friday. So we still have several more weeks. This is only our 2nd class. So make sure you're getting signed up for all of them over the next couple of weeks. And we just thank you so much for being here. And we cannot wait to create more with you. And I hope you love your Sunny Day frame. I hope you love it. I hope you show it off to all of your friends and family. And we hope to see you again. Oh, thank you so much. Okay, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye, friends. Happy crafting.